To understand the emotional processes behind performance anxiety, we need to take a closer look at the basic emotions and see how they are triggered. Specifically, let's talk about fear. For that, let's go to another example. This is John. John loves mountains, and on one day, he decides to go on a trip to the mountains. While being there, he's enjoying beautiful views and the nature. What does he feel? We may assume he's happy. What does his body feel? He's probably relaxed. Now suddenly, John sees a big bear. What happens to his body and mind? Without even thinking about it, he experiences fear, and his body is aroused, ready to flee. The mechanism that is triggered here is called the fight or flight response, which is the body's reaction to perceived threat or danger. The part of the brain that is responsible for triggering the fight or flight response is called the amygdala, and is a part of the limbic system. This is our emotional brain. The amygdala plays a large role in producing emotions related to our survival, especially fear. It sees and hears everything that occurs to us instantaneously and inhibits rational thinking when there is no time to analyze whether a seen object is a threat or not. It's the most primitive survival response. If the amygdala perceives an emotional emergency, it can take over the rest of the brain before the rational part of the brain has time to analyze the signals coming in and decides what to do. Once the amygdala picks up on a threat, it talks to a part of the brain called the hypothalamus, which in turn releases chemicals telling the pituitary gland to react, pump the hormone adrenaline into the bloodstream, and cause the body to activate the stress response instantly, which, by the way, is the same as the one associated with performance anxiety. As adrenaline circulates through the body, it brings on a number of physiological changes: increased heart rate, increased blood pressure, increased respiration, and slowed digestive functioning. All of these changes happen so quickly that a person who is experiencing the fight or flight response is not aware of what's going on with them. This mechanism has helped in evolution as a survival mechanism when our ancestors, encountering a danger, had to answer the question, does it eat me or do I eat it? You can't sit around and think about it. You need to have an instantaneous response. That's how our ancestors survived. And that's actually how we still react. We modern people, surrounded by our smartphones, computers, internet, and other technological conveniences, have the same bodies and we have the same brain reactions as our ancestors million years ago. And again, it's all because of the amygdala. The amygdala is responsible for storing and classifying unconscious, emotionally charged memories. It helps to faster recognize if a given object or a situation was a threat in the past. And this memory helps to avoid this dangerous situation in the future. Here is an example of how the amygdala works. Again, this is John. Unfortunately, he happened to be attacked by a dog when he was walking in a park. What might he feel? He is probably afraid, scared, and feels helpless. His amygdala will store the memory of this unfortunate experience and will remember to avoid dogs in the future. This is an example of how great the survival mechanism is. However, when the amygdala is overstimulated, then fear conditioning may happen. Instead of using the memory of the dog attack to avoid future dog attacks, the mere sight of a dog may become associated with a deadly threat. There is more. When a person experiences an event that elicits an emotion such as fear or anxiety, the memory of the event, such as a dog attack, and associated feelings are automatically stored in the amygdala. Years later, when that person thinks about that experience, he or she will also feel some of the anxiety that was stored with the memory of the event. This is how a traumatic experience is formed. Traumatic memories are formed after an experience that causes high levels of emotional arousal and the activation of stress hormones. What does it mean to you? If you experience performance anxiety and the fight or flight response when you perform on stage, it means that your amygdala got the wrong idea about the importance of that performance. Your body perceives the public performance as a threat, as something dangerous. If your amygdala perceives a performance as a threat, your body reacts in the way as if the performance was crucial for your survival. Also, do you remember the story of Mia's bad performance experience from session 1? This is Mia 15 years later. She still remembers the night when it happened, and she feels anxious whenever she thinks about this negative experience. What happens is that she unconsciously transfers her previous bad stage experience onto her present public performance situations. That's why she gets performance anxiety every time she performs. It's not because of any present reasons, but because of her past negative experience. If something like that happened to you, or you realize that for some reason you perceive a public performance as a threat, I want you to realize that you can change it. In the next lessons of this session, I'm going to tell you how to manage your emotions and deal with any negative past experiences which may affect your ability to perform in public right now. Thank you so much, and see you in lesson 3.